It is 1:17 a.m. The house is silent. The street outside is empty. You are lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, and your body is physically exhausted. Your eyes burn, your limbs feel heavy, and you know you have to wake up in 4 hours. But your mind? Your mind is running a marathon. It is reviewing a conversation from 3 years ago. It is solving a complex problem you encountered at work today. It is deconstructing the plot of a movie or wondering about the nature of consciousness. For years, you have probably been told this is a discipline problem. People say things like, just put the phone away, or drink some tea, or stop thinking so much. But you know it is not that simple. You have tried the tea, you have tried the silence. It does not work because your wakefulness is not just a bad habit. It is a biological and psychological signature of who you are. However, we need to have an honest, difficult conversation. There's a modern trend to romanticize the tortured night owl. We like to imagine the genius working by candlelight while the world sleeps. But there is a dark side to this. Chronic insomnia and a nocturnal lifestyle are not just personality quirks. They are high-risk factors for burnout, anxiety, cardiovascular issues, and depression. What you're experiencing is a tension between a brain that is wired for the night and a body that is breaking down under the pressure of the day. Today, we are going to explore the 7 deep traits of the nocturnal mind. But we are going to do it differently. We are not just going to call them superpowers. We are going to look at them as double-edged swords. We will see how they serve you, but also how they might be hurting you. And most importantly, stick around until the end because we are going to go through a specific scientific toolkit, including the 3-2-1 method and solar anchoring, to help you manage this energy so you do not burn out. Number 7, high sensory processing sensitivity. Let us start with your environment. Why does the daytime feel so draining to you? Imagine your brain is a computer browser. Most people have 5 or 6 tabs open. They can hear the traffic, do their work, talk to a colleague, and ignore the humming of the air conditioner. Their brain naturally filters out the junk data. But you might feel like you have 500 tabs open, and the close button is broken. The 7th trait is high sensory processing sensitivity. In psychology, this is often linked to the HSP, or highly sensitive person profile. It means your sensory gating, the brain's ability to block out irrelevant stimuli, is wide open. You might notice the flicker of a fluorescent light that nobody else sees. You might hear the specific tone of irritation in a friend's voice. You might smell the coffee from 3 rooms away. During the day, this is a superpower of observation. You see details others miss. But by 6 p.m., this superpower becomes a curse. You suffer from sensory overload. Your nervous system is fried. You feel irritable, on edge, and physically heavy. You love the night because it is the only time the data stream stops. The sun goes down, the traffic dies, the emails stop pinging. For the first time in 16 hours, your browser stops freezing up. You stay awake not because you are not tired, but because the silence feels like medicine. You are essentially using the night as a sensory deprivation tank. However, here is the trap. By staying up late to heal from the noise, you are depriving your brain of sleep. And a sleep-deprived brain is actually more sensitive to noise the next day. It creates a loop. You stay up to escape the noise, which makes the noise hurt more tomorrow. Recognizing the sensitivity is the first step. You're not just nighttime obsessed. You're seeking a quiet place in a loud world. Number 6, the emotional sponge effect. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt a heavy vibe, even though everyone was smiling? Trait number 6 is hyper-empathy. This goes beyond just being a nice person. For many with a nocturnal mind, empathy is often a physical experience. You do not just understand what someone is feeling, you absorb it. Imagine you are a dry sponge, and every person you meet is a cup of water. If your friend is sad, you soak it up. If your boss is stressed, you soak it up. If the news is tragic, you soak it up. By the end of the day, you are heavy. You are carrying emotional luggage that does not even belong to you. This leads to a very specific type of exhaustion called compassion fatigue. This trait makes you an incredible friend and a deep connector, but it is also why you cannot sleep. And when you finally get home and lock the door, you are full of other people's energy. You cannot go to sleep immediately because you need time to wring out the sponge. You need hours of solitude to figure out where they end and you begin. The night is your emotional quarantine. It is the only time you are safe from catching more feelings, but the danger is real. If you rely only on late-night isolation to process emotions, you isolate yourself too much. And without sleep, your emotional regulation centers, like the amygdala, stop working properly. You might start feeling not just empathetic, but anxious and fragile. You are staying awake to protect your peace, but the lack of sleep is slowly eroding your emotional armor. Number 5, the need for autonomy. This is perhaps the most common reason for your 2 and 1 REM wakefulness, and it has a name in psychology. It is called revenge bedtime procrastination. Here is the scenario. You work hard, you follow the rules, you answer the emails, you cook dinner, you do the chores. From the moment you wake up until 9 all p.m., your time belongs to someone else. It belongs to your employer, your family, your obligations. You are a passenger in your own life. Trait number 5 is a fierce, almost desperate need for autonomy. You value freedom above almost anything else. But modern life requires you to surrender that freedom for 8 to 10 hours a day. By the end of the day, you feel cheated. You feel like you did not get to live for you. So when the clock strikes 10 all p.m. and you should go to sleep, a part of you rebels. You think, no, I'm not going to sleep. Because if I sleep, tomorrow starts, and I do not want tomorrow to start yet. I want my time. You stay up scrolling, watching videos, or reading. This is not laziness. It is a reclamation of self. It is a sign that you have a high drive for independence. But we have to be honest, this is a loan with high interest. You are borrowing energy from tomorrow to pay for a sense of freedom today. The burnout you feel is not just from work. It is from the sleep debt you're building to buy back your soul. It is a tragic trade-off. You get freedom at night, but you pay for it with misery in the morning. Number 4, the divergent thinker. Let us look at how your brain actually processes information. The world is built for convergent thinking. This is linear, logical, step-by-step thinking. A plus B equals C. This is how spreadsheets work. This is how morning meetings work. But your mind likely works differently. Trait number 4 is divergent thinking. Your mind operates like a web of associations. One idea sparks 3 more, which spark 10 more. You see connections that other people miss. You do not think in straight lines. You think in explosions. This makes you creative and innovative, but it also makes you prone to what we might call popcorn brain. During the day, you are constantly forced to slow down, to explain yourself, to color inside the lines. It is exhausting to restrain a mind that wants to run. But at night, specifically during the transition to sleep, your brain enters a state called hypnagogia. The logical barrier is lower. For many of you, this is when the magic happens. You might find yourself mentally writing a book, planning a new business, or suddenly understanding a complex concept that confused you all week. It feels amazing. It feels like flow. And to be clear, this is valid creativity. You are not making it up. Your brain is truly making brilliant connections that the daytime brain cannot make. But here's the shadow side. Is it always genius, or is it sometimes just a lack of executive control? Often, you are staying awake not because you chose to be creative, but because you cannot inhibit your thoughts. You are chasing dopamine hits from new ideas instead of letting your brain rest. This is the double-edged sword. You have the engine of a Ferrari, but at 2 a.m. the brakes do not work. It is a beautiful engine, but without brakes, it can drive you right off the cliff of exhaustion. Number 3, the need for authentic reflection. How much of your day is spent acting, not on a stage, but in life? The customer service voice, the professional nod, the polite laugh. We all wear masks to survive socially, but for you, these masks might feel heavier than usual. Trait number 3 is a deep need for authenticity. You value truth, you hate fake interactions, but you are forced to participate in them to function. This causes masking burnout. By the end of the day, your face hurts from smiling when you did not want to. Your throat hurts from saying things you did not mean. You love being alone at night because it is the only time you can take the mask off. In the dark, there is no one to perform for. You do not have to look interested. You can just be. This leads to deep introspection. You replay the day. And let us be clear, this ability to reflect is a major strength. It helps you grow. It prevents you from making the same mistakes twice. It makes you a wiser person. But here's the risk, that healthy introspection can easily turn into toxic rumination. Many of you might find that what starts as analyzing the day turns into replaying a mistake you made over and over again. You might find yourself dissecting a text message for hidden meanings that are not there. When does knowing yourself become torturing yourself? The night blurs that line. If you are awake at 3 a.m. criticizing yourself for something minor, that is not a superpower. That is anxiety wearing the costume of deep thought. Number 2, the default mode analyst. Neuroscience gives us a fascinating clue about the nocturnal mind. There's a network in your brain called the DMN, the default mode network. This is the part of the brain that activates when you're not doing a specific task. It is responsible for daydreaming, recalling memories, and envisioning the future. For most people, the DMN quiets down when they get tired. For you, it often ramps up. Trait number 2 is a hyperactive default mode network. You are a natural analyst. You are a systemizer. You need to understand why things happen. This allows you to solve complex problems, but it creates a state called analysis paralysis. When you lie down in bed, your body stops moving. So your brain says, okay, physical work is done. Time to start the real work. It starts pulling files from the cabinets of your memory. It connects the movie you watched last week to a conversation you had today. This is not a disorder. It is a type of high-functioning intelligence. But biologically, your brain consumes 20% of your body's energy. If it is running a marathon all night, you wake up physically depleted. You are intellectually alive, but biologically bankrupt. You cannot solve the world's problems if you do not have the energy to get out of bed. Number 1, the chronobiological outlier. We have talked about psychology, emotion, and creativity, but we have to talk about the hard truth of biology. The number 1 trait is that you are likely a chronobiological outlier. For a long time, society called this laziness. Science now calls it a delayed sleep phase. This is often genetic. It is written in your DNA, specifically in genes like PR3, which regulate your internal clock. You're not bad at sleeping. Your biological night simply starts 3 to 4 hours later than society's night. This is an evolutionary adaptation. In ancient tribes, someone needed to be awake to watch for predators. You are the watchman. You are the guardian. But here is the brutal reality. The tribe does not need watchmen anymore. It needs 9 to 5 workers. This mismatch causes social jet lag. Imagine flying from New York to London every single day. That is what your body is doing. You are living in a time zone that does not exist. This is the most dangerous trait. Studies show that people with this misalignment have higher risks of cardiovascular disease, metabolic issues, and depression. Why? Because you are constantly fighting your own biology. It is heroic to try to adapt, but it is physically damaging. You are not failing at life. You are just playing a game where the rules were written for a different type of player. The toolkit, how to survive. So, now you know. You are sensitive, empathetic, autonomous, divergent, and biologically delayed. You have a nocturnal mind. But knowing this is not enough. If you do not manage it, it will burn you out. So, how do we protect this mind? We need a protocol. Here are 4 practical science-backed steps you can start today. Step 1, solar anchoring. Your internal clock is drifting. You need to anchor it. The most powerful signal for your brain is light. Even if you're tired, try to get 10 minutes of natural sunlight into your eyes within the first hour of waking up. Go out to your balcony or porch with your coffee. Take off your sunglasses. This triggers a cortisol pulse that sets a timer for melatonin release 16 hours later. You cannot force yourself to sleep at night, but you can force your body to wake up in the morning. Use light as your anchor. Step 2, the 3 at a 2-1 brain dump. Remember the emotional sponge? Do not wait until 2 cows a.m. to wring it out. At 8 p.m., take a notebook. We are going to use the 3 over 2-1 technique. Write down 3 worries that are nagging you, 2 ideas you want to remember, and 1 thing you are grateful for. This externalizes the data. It tells your brain, it is written down, you do not have to hold it anymore. Close the browser tabs before you get into bed. Step 3, negotiate your reality. If you have a delayed sleep phase, trying harder to wake up at 6 a.m. often fails. If possible, stop fighting and start negotiating. Frame it around productivity, not comfort. Tell your boss or your team, I've tracked my energy and I deliver my best work after 10 a.m. Can we adjust my core hours? You're not asking for special treatment. You're asking for a schedule where you can actually be productive. Stop judging yourself by the morning lark's clock. Step 4, CBT-I resources. CBT-I stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia. It is the gold standard. The rule is simple. If you're lying in bed awake for more than 20 minutes, get up. Do not train your brain that bed equals thinking. Bed must equal sleep. If you're struggling, look for resources. Apps like CBT-I Coach or books like Say Goodnight to Insomnia by Dr. Greg Jacobs are excellent starting points. They teach you to break the association between the pillow and the anxiety. If you found value in this toolkit and you want to better understand your own mind, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Join this community of nocturnal thinkers. We are building a space where you do not have to apologize for how you are wired. Having a nocturnal mind is a beautiful, complicated thing. You are the thinkers, the feelers, the creators, and the guardians. The world needs people like you. But the world does not make it easy for you. You do not need to cure your personality. You do not need to stop being deep. But you do need to respect your biology. You need to protect your energy so that your superpower does not become your kryptonite. Do not let the romance of the sleepless night destroy the health of your waking life. I want to hear from you in the comments. Which of these swords cut the deepest for you? Was it the rebellious autonomy of revenge procrastination, the emotional weight of the sponge, or the biological clock that just refuses to sync with the world? Let me know. And remember, it is okay to be awake when the world is sleeping as long as you learn how to rest.